Hi, I'm Mary Brody, and I'm the author of Revenue or Relationships Win Both. You may be searching for a solution to your problem, or you may stumble upon something that you didn't realize that you always needed, making you feel as if your discovery was, well, meant to be. Either way, discovering a solution to one of your biggest problems is a great feeling. And that's what this pre-purchase step of the customer relationship life cycle is all about. Customers discovering a way to solve a problem that they have today or resolve a problem that they didn't even know that they had. Now, this problem that your customers have could be something very specific to them, or something specific to an industry, or just in general in society. They may need to be part of a bigger movement to solve their problem and ultimately drive change. Now, as we know, change happens when you solve a problem. But a crucial element to help make change more easily and be more open to it is having a vision of what your new life could possibly be after that change is made. And to do that, you need to understand the impact of the change and have expectations of what will happen if you adopt that vision. Now, expectations aren't inherently bad, but if they're not filled, they can cause disappointment. And that's where customer relationships sometimes fail. Now, you may assume that a customer develops a vision of what their life could be with your product or service all by themselves on their own. But that's simply just not true. That's your company's story to share. You can curate the narrative to share the vision of a life you believe the customer should have after using your product or service. And ideally, this should be based on the customer stories you hear and how they recount how their lives changed. And this ties back with a company's accountability. Accountability can become a type of measurement to determine the success of a customer relationship based on how a company delivers on the promises it makes. And we're going to discuss that in a separate video. Now, related to accountability are explicit and implicit agreements and expectations. These start when building a relationship with others or with a company. We all enter a relationship with assumptions about how a relationship should work based on our past experiences and our experiences with others or competitors. That's an implicit agreement. Companies need to offer baseline support based on what their competitors or others are doing. And by leveraging that information and using their own approaches, they will build a relationship with customers in a pretty traditional way. First, you build trust, you identify a need, and show how that need can be filled. Now, explicit agreements are established by the value statements and benefits that a company claims, as well as the emotions and feelings that are a result of customer experiences. They guide a customer in defining how to hold a company accountable in that relationship, starting in the early stages of a relationship. So the messages you share with customers on social media and such travel with them throughout the relationship lifecycle and through the journeys. Customers base their understanding of your company and its offerings on what you say during that process. Now, there are two main types of targets in this step of the customer relationship lifecycle. One, those who are generally aware of what their problem is, but they're not quite sure how to solve it. They will use search tools, reviews, third-party sites, and word of mouth, or conversations with friends, companies, and experts so that they find a solution. Because they're aware that they have a problem, they place a high priority on fixing it. And only if the problem's too complex to solve on their own or too costly to acquire a solution will it fall in priority. They enter the process knowing that solving the problem would improve their life, but they need facts and details to support this assertion. Two, those who don't yet know that they have a problem. And they'll stumble upon solutions through discovery tools like social media, wandering into a local store, or experimenting with a demo or trial or sample. Sometimes it is only after trying a product or service that a customer realizes how it really could help them. These people need to consider where they place the priority of solving this problem in their lives. And they determine this priority based on their perception of how the solution would improve their lives in some way. Now, let's examine in greater detail how to communicate with those who know what their problem is. Now, these people typically know the topics to search to find a solution. They know the leading companies and the industry leaders in the field. As previously stated, they have an idea of how their lives could improve by solving their problem. Now, it's your job as the company to help customers more fully understand the details around the anticipated challenges to their lives physically and emotionally, and create a more specific vision of how their future, in fact, could be improved. Now, the best way to help them discover your solution is through conversations, in person with customers, influencers, and partners, automated through search engines and bots, and through hybrid approaches like social media. In-person experiences like demos, storefronts, and automated experiences like websites and collateral are important for someone to research your product or service. Remember, this audience is fairly focused and will need more directed ways to discover your solution to the problem that they identified. They'll need automated experiences to research detailed information about your solution and in-person experiences to give your solution a whirl. But discovery of your company's solution mainly happens through conversations, in person and automated. Now, let's consider those who don't know that they have a problem. Most of the time, that's your target audience if you're selling a new product or solution. They don't know you exist, they aren't sure of the value you provide, and they need to discover you. So you need to make yourself discoverable. And this can happen through social media in a digital experience or through an in-person experience like a conference, a trade show, an event like a meetup, a party, or a storefront. These people may want to experience the product firsthand to see how it works and discover for themselves how it could help them. They want to hear stories about how your company helped real customers change their lives or achieve their goals. They want to know, why do people buy from you? They want to learn more about that problem you solve. Now, in addition to sharing your product story experience, you need to construct that initial discovery experience, that aha moment. How someone stumbles upon you, a store in a part of town where your target market lives or shops, posting on social media in places where people can access your solution. And when you do that, provide content to outline the problem you solve, describe the value you provide, and outline how you can transform someone's life. This post could feature an article, a video, audio, it really doesn't matter. What matters about the content is that it paints that picture in someone's mind, showing how change can benefit them emotionally and physically. And by sharing customer stories, you can show how the change that your product provides is strong enough and beneficial enough to change behavior. Now, this needs to occur through in-person experiences as stores, events, or trade shows, or automated or in-person conversations or hybrid conversation experiences. The automated experiences or in-person conversations or events can help paint a picture in someone's mind about the benefits of change. The key to do this successfully is to make sure that your company is solving a clear problem. And this is a challenge for many companies. They may solve a problem, but not in the context of how a customer values the solution and why they should choose it. There's a great article at Harvard Business Review regarding the jobs to be done. This is the customer perspective of problems you solve and its meaning in their lives. Now, in the article, the authors share a story about a developer trying to sell condos. And now the developer heard specific requests for room features to be included in these homes, like a breakfast bar and other little nifty nooks. But what kept coming up as to why people said no to purchase is that they wanted a place to put their dining room table or a large, meaningful piece of furniture. And that meaningful piece of furniture had memories associated with it. Birthdays, holidays, homework. But this need was never openly discussed by customers, even when they said no. As a response to this discovery, the developer then created a place to put that dining room table, that meaningful piece of furniture, and needless to say, they quickly sold all the units. Now, the learning here is that companies need to understand that true need for the customer, that job to be done, the unique problem that you are really solving versus the problem that your company wants to solve and its perceived value proposition. In this case, the problem was really where to put this meaningful piece of furniture that had memories. So when you consider the problem you really solve for customers, consider what they value and how you really help them. This is why customer stories and testimonials serve multiple purposes. These stories help customers see a vision of the future with their problem solved and understand what it will feel like. And these stories also serve as research for you to better understand the true value your solution brings to your customers. Now, in the next video, we will review the customer story in more detail using the hero's journey, but to start the discussion, at least 3 elements need to be included in a customer story. 1, it needs to explain the problem the customer believes he or she had. 2, it has to describe the solution that they selected and why. 3, it needs to illustrate the new life that they're living with this change. Now, to provide the emotional connection needed to help customers understand how your solution will help them, make sure that they answer some questions in their stories. Like, let's say when their customer is explaining the problem that he or she believed that they had, they're able to answer how they felt about the problem. And also be mindful about how they're describing their problem. Was it challenging? Was it a nuisance? Did their life or livelihood depend on a resolution? When these customers are describing the solution, make sure they answer questions like, why did you choose the solution you did? What feelings drove you to select that specific solution? How did you feel when the solution was implemented? And be mindful again how they're describing the solution. Was it the answer to their prayers? Was the customer ever doubtful? Did this customer feel information was missing from their story? When the customer is illustrating the new life that they have after the change was made, see if they can talk about the new feelings and emotions around the solution. Did they feel a change? And when did they realize that this change happened? So, how can you use all of this information in your company? Well, it can inform the product team. It'll help them understand how users feel when they use the product so they can create the right experience. Support. Tell them how the product is relieving customer challenges and how they should continue helping that effort. For finance, help them to understand that to relieve more customer challenges, we may want to offer more payment options and flexibility. HR. Share the challenges so that HR can hire employees who want to help customers solve their problems. Create content to help describe the problem in the industry and highlight the frustration customers must feel. And create solution content that supports feeling relief. As you can see, customer stories do so much more than support our company's story. They are further creating and reinforcing it, making it better and stronger as an endless feedback loop or cycle. And again, there will be more about customer stories in the next section about purchasing. So to sum this section up, if you clearly solve a priority problem that your customer values, then you can more easily create discovery moments and share how your product and service can change people's lives for the better. In-person experiences allow people to experience a product firsthand. In-person conversations can allow people to share their views and needs. Automated experiences can support research for customers to understand your company's product or service. And automated conversations will guide customers to the right resource for more information. Creating a vision with a customer about a better future that meets their expectations would encourage customers to share their stories with others, and so on, so the customer relationship lifecycle can continue on its own and inspire others to make similar choices. I hope this video was helpful. Thanks so much, and have a great day.